Hi guys, welcome back and thanks for tuning in for another episode of my vlog. The stuff that I want to chat about this week is mainly based on events that have happened to me, so rather than giving it to you in two separate sections, I'm just going to give it all to you in one go. So Monday, fairly chill day at work, but Monday was the International Transgender Day of Remembrance. So as part of that, the GU LGBTQ Society had organised a candlelit vigil in the cloisters at the uni, and they very kindly allowed staff members to participate. And it was a very moving, sombre affair, with some tears being shed by some participants, and one person reading some very moving, touching poetry. And I'm glad I took part despite it being absolutely freezing cold. But after that, it got me to thinking a wee bit. Now, we've got International Transgender Day of Remembrance there. There's also International Transgender Day of Visibility, which is in March time. And not meaning to be pejorative here, but it seems like every day is a day for remembering or commemorating something. Now, obviously it's terrible that there's so much gender-based violence. I'm not disagreeing with that, and especially violence against transgender people being murdered across the world, and there's a list on the International Transgender Day of Remembrance website of all the trans people who've been killed in the world in the last year, and that doesn't even include people who've committed suicide. But the question I want to ask is, having all these days, does it dilute the meaning of remembrance and detract from what the purpose of these events really was? And that's just something I want you guys to have a wee think about. Now, as a transgender woman of colour, or TWOC as the acronym goes, and interestingly, TWOC is also an acronym for Taking Without Consent or Trial Without Catheter, but yeah, it would be hard for me not to be an intersectional feminist, but intersectional feminism has a lot to answer for. Now, while transgender women of colour do seem to be disproportionately affected by violence, especially in America, and that's purely an anecdotal thing, you know, intersectionality does lead to over-fragmentation into increasingly small cohorts that are increasingly homogeneous. And I think there's still something to be said for everybody uniting behind a common cause for political activism when there's so much change and disparity in society that needs to be addressed, rather than us focusing on groups of people that are exactly the same as ourselves. So that's my wee bit on intersectionality for today. Tuesday I was teaching again, and yeah, really enjoying the teaching, having fun teaching cardiology to the second year dental students, and some bright sparks in the bunch, and some of them are chatty and lovely, but do let the patients get carried away, and it can get very off topic at times. Wednesday, what happened on Wednesday? My new passport came through, so this is the first passport that says F instead of M, and it's got my new photo, and I felt that was an important milestone for me personally, although, you know, I'm no different having my new passport to how I was before, but, you know, just felt, yes, I'm actually making progress in my transition here. As for how my transition's going, yeah, I think possibly I'm just imagining things, but I think my boobs are a wee bit fuller and my body hair a bit finer, but maybe I'm just imagining things there. So I've applied for some new bank cards and a new driving license now that I've got my new passport, but the GMC regulations seem a bit Byzantine. There's an 8-page form. I have to send them like physically my old passport and my new passport, and then I think my current GMC number gets suspended and I get given a new GMC number. It's like, okay, well, I'm not really changing my name. If anybody searches me by my old GMC number, they'll think I've done something bad to get suspended rather than because I'm trans. So yeah, it seems a bit convoluted, and could probably do a wee bit of streamlining there. Friday I was again in the head and neck clinic, and some lovely patients, but one very inappropriate comment, and I wasn't sure how to address this really. It was a patient being overtly sexually forward and completely inappropriate, and I must admit I just blushed and said, right, I'm just going to have a feel of your neck now. But yeah, not something I'm used to happening to me, but I imagine it will happen again in the future, sadly, and I guess I need to have a witty comeback for that. Saturday again, something a wee bit similar happened, but different. Saturday morning I went to the Royal Mail delivery office to collect a parcel and was asked for some ID, and oh, I've got my new passport, so I'll show my new passport, which looks, you know, it's an up-to-date photograph. That is how I look now, but the guy at the Royal Mail delivery office said, "Is that your wife?" Which I was rather taken aback at and surprised, and I said, "Excuse me," and he said, "Oh, sorry." So I honestly don't know what the deal was with that. After I was done there, I went for brunch with Jamie. Massive love to you, Jamie. We went to Loop and Scoop again for, yeah, some food and some churros as well, and the churros are absolutely delicious. So anybody who hasn't been, it's on Great Western Road, and I would strongly recommend that you do nip along and have a wee look. Later on Saturday, after I'd done my cleaning, had a wee date night, just in the flat. So yeah, this girl that I've been seeing for not very long came over. I had made pizza. So this was my cold-proofed pizza dough for 72 hours, and both pizzas had a tomato base, and on one of them I had some basil, some mozzarella, some olives, some mixed peppers, and some balsamic caramelized shallots. And on the other pizza I had like mixed cheeses, so there's a blue cheese, a goat's cheese, and some Gruyere, and some toasted almonds and some pears. And obviously both of them were delicious because my cooking is always nice. That's something I'm good at, and I'm not going to be shy about shouting that from the rooftops. And dessert, we had matcha creme brulee, and for those of you who want to make creme brulee, it's dead easy. You warm some cream, mix some egg yolks with some sugar, pour the warmed cream over the egg yolk sugar mix, add whatever flavourings you want to it, be it matcha, vanilla, whatever, and keep whisking until it thickens, and pour it in ramekins. Bake in a bain-marie on a low heat for about 40-45 minutes, and then sugar on top and blow torch your sugar. So very, very simple for anybody who does want to make that. And we had some mulled cider. So when I mull my cider, I add Calvados, sugar, muscovado of course for the depth of flavour, some cloves, some cinnamon, some ginger, some green peppercorns, and some orange zest. So we had a lovely night, we watched a film, and no, she did not stay over, you dirty people. But no, it was lovely to have some company and to have somebody to cook for, somebody to look after, somebody to cuddle, somebody to kiss. Intimacy I have really been missing since I broke up from my ex. There are still loads of things I miss. I still miss her, I still miss our daughter, still miss our dog, I miss the smells, I miss the sounds, I miss the mess, I miss having a full flat all the time. You know, somebody being there when you come home from work or when you come in from being out with your friends. It is lonely at times being by yourself. And yeah, I guess it's a bit difficult really. But I don't want any of you to feel sorry for me. I was a terrible person to be around, and I can understand why my ex left. You know, my mental health was deteriorating towards the end. I was snapping at her. I wasn't snapping at our daughter that I can remember, but yeah, it must have been difficult to love me, especially latterly. But I'm in a much better place now, and my mental health is a lot better than it was before, and I'm really, really grateful for that, and I'm really grateful that I have somebody now who I can start to share some smiles with. I think that's all I've got to say for you today. But please tune in again next week, and bye for now.